Today was my tune-up half marathon before Boston. Spoiler alert, it was cold. This morning I ran the No Luck Irish Half Marathon in Plainfield, Indiana, put on by Racemaker Productions. And for a group called Racemaker Productions, this race was not very well put together. The course map, which you could only find online, was confusing in itself. I'm usually not too worried about knowing the course, but as my training has evolved, I find myself out in front or in first more often these days. They did have a pace biker, but somehow he didn't know the course either. But let's backtrack a little bit. First of all, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this content. And check out my other videos on YouTube, along with my daily training vlogs in the shorts section or on TikTok. Or you can keep up with my training by following me on Instagram or Strava as I enter the final weeks entering my first Boston Marathon. So back to the race. I didn't try to get any footage from today because of how cold it was. The real feel was under 20 degrees, which felt even colder in the wind. So trying to juggle a camera with trying to stay warm just didn't sound very appealing to me. So I'm sorry if the video is a little boring on the visuals. The whole starting sequence was an absolute nightmare. I couldn't tell what direction to go after the start, let alone out on the course. Over half of the field ended up going the wrong direction inside the first mile, with us in the lead pack going almost a half mile out of the way. They did attempt to make it right by altering the course a bit, but I was kind of already mentally prepared to do 14 miles instead of 13.1. So like I said, the race wasn't organized very well, but let's shift focus to how I did personally. I did break out the Nike Alphafly Next for the first time, and I was not disappointed. My goal heading into today was to keep my first 10K around my goal marathon pace, which I was thinking about 6:05 to 6:10. But after we got cruising, after everybody went the wrong direction in the first mile, I was cranking out my miles in under 6 minutes. I kept trying to back it off to stay more comfortable, but it just wasn't happening. There was also a guy out in front of me. He was in first and I was in second at the time, and I didn't want to let him get too far ahead of me and ruin my chance of winning the race. After the halfway point, I started catching up to him a little bit, and then with about 2.5 miles to go, I finally passed him. So yeah, got the W. Not only that, but it was a huge PB, although with all the confusion with the wrong turn, I'm not sure the validity of the distance of the race. Either way, I averaged well under 6 minutes a mile. I'll throw my splits from Strava up on the screen here. That kind of time, that kind of average sets me up for a personal best regardless. The Alphaflys felt every bit as fast as the Vaporflies did when I raced in those for the first time. I really enjoy how they keep me up on my toes, and I feel like that was a big part of why today's race went so well. I'll be lacing them up again at Boston, but until then, they're gonna go back up on the shelf. I do have preliminary plans to chase down a half marathon PB in the fall rather than tackle another full this year. I'd like to take a stab at these shorter, faster distances before I get too much older and lose some of that natural speed that I have, but I'm not sure where I'll be running or where I'll be making that attempt. I will say that the Alphaflys are likely to be my racing shoe of choice for the foreseeable future. I do only have 2 races on my Vape 2s back there, so we will probably break them out here and there, more than likely just for like the shorter races, shorter distances like 5Ks and 10Ks. So that's it for today's race recap. Sorry again for the lack of footage, but with how cold it was, I was just not feeling that. I'll be sure to get some footage at Boston. I mean, how could I not though, right? So be sure to check back with the channel. Deuces.